You know, Kendrick Lamar is a prophet because I'm going to just spit these lyrics right quick from the hit song Squabble Up. And they are just so true. They ring so true and turned out to be so true. Now, I'm going to edit this a little bit, but hide the kids, cover the kids' ears. But anyway, Kendrick raps, bitch in 'em and a bitch with 'em. That's a lot of bitch. And Drake is definitely one of those bitches that Kendrick was speaking of. Let's get into it. Okay, with this lawsuit, Drake is now leaving some of those so-called hip-hop fans who were his supporters without a leg to stand on, because he is, in essence, with this lawsuit, attacking not only artistic expression, but the art form of friendly competition in lyrics and hip-hop, hyperbole within lyrics, artists expressing themselves and maybe expressing their opinion of other artists, as well as expressing their account of situations they may have gone through. This lawsuit attacks all of those things. And a message to those artists who have worked with Drake. A lot of you have expressed your point of view of real life situations you've been in. You've expressed your disdain for fellow artists. All of that is under attack, and your boy did this, okay? Because music could be pulled, all of that. Now, do I think any of that's gonna happen? No, because I think he's gonna lose. But the fact that he was willing to put that on the line, because if he does win, that's what could happen, because the company and the distributor, UMG, could be liable for all the songs that they released, where any of the factors that he's alleging in this lawsuit that led to what he's alleging it led to in this lawsuit could be deemed true. So that means if your lyrics apply to something that could have happened in real life, or your lyrics defame somebody's character, UMG will probably be forced to take the music down just to avoid litigation. So, like I said in the beginning of this is the bitchiest behavior ever by an artist in the history of music. Let's get into it. Okay, when we start with the first page of the document, so this is directly Aubrey Graham Drake, the plaintiff, himself, not his company, that's very important, versus UMG Records, the defendant, right? Now, I did a video already this morning on him dropping the previous petition for discovery from his LLC towards UMG and Spotify. But this time he's going directly at UMG, and he names Sir Lucian Grainge, chief executive officer of UMG, directly, because he starts with a quote from Lucian Grainge. A single lie can destroy a reputation of integrity, and while it takes years to build a reputation, it can be ruined in 5 minutes. So they're coming at UMG really tough in this lawsuit here. He's trying to tie it into the incident that happened at his house, where the security guard was shot. Now, many of us who have been following this kind of can speculate what that actually was tied to, but Drake and his attorneys and his team are trying to tie it to Kendrick Lamar's release of the song Not Like Us, and UMG promoting that song, which is their job to do in an agreement with any artist that they distribute for. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So section 1, in the middle of the night on May 7th, 2024, an armed group of assailants drove up to the Toronto house in which Drake and his family resided. Drake was inside. The car stopped in front of the residence. Someone yelled, "F Drake," and at least one gunman began to open fire. One bullet went through the security gate and hit Drake's front door. Another bullet struck and wounded a security guard who was also one of Drake's friends. While the car drove away, Drake and others in the house summoned help for the security guard and did everything possible to keep him alive. During the nearly 30 minutes it took for the ambulance to arrive, Drake and others labored to keep the man alive by applying pressure to the gunshot wound with towels. Blood was everywhere. Section 2. After the security guard arrived at the hospital, surgeons worked quickly to remove the bullet, stop the bleeding, and save his life. Though it took days for his condition to stabilize, thankfully the security guard survived. Section 3. The very next day, May 8, 2024, a different intruder used his bare hands to dig a hole under the security fence surrounding Drake's Toronto house. He managed to dig deep enough to squeeze through and enter Drake's property. Fortunately, Drake's home security caught him before he was able to cause any physical harm. Although the trespasser managed to yell racist slurs and threats against Drake, before being escorted off the property. Now, what race has to do with Not Like Us, I don't know. Let's continue. Section 4. On May 9th, 2024, the very next day, another break-in attempt happened. No details to that break-in attempt. That's telling. Section 5. In 2 decades leading up to May of 2024, although Drake was constantly in the public eye, nothing remotely like these events had ever happened to him or his family. But these events were not coincidental. They immediately followed and were proximately caused by UMG's actions leading up to and on May 4th, 2024. Section 6. UMG, the world's largest music company, and also the music company that has represented Drake for more than a decade. Yet on May 4th, 2024, UMG approved, published, and launched a campaign to create a viral hit out of a rap track that falsely accuses Drake of being a pedophile and calls for violent retribution against him. That is false. That's my opinion that is false, but let's continue. Even though UMG enriched itself and its shareholders by exploiting Drake's music for years and knew that the salacious allegations against Drake were false, UMG chose corporate greed over the safety and well-being of its artists. Okay, let's take a pause for the cause. Let's stop right there. First of all, how does UMG know what's true and what's false about you? They don't. Okay, they're not with you every day. They don't know your personal life. All right, they don't have to investigate you and your behavior. So that's totally erroneous. And I'm normally never a person who's on the side of the corporation, but in this case, with these allegations, this is dangerous, and it gets more dangerous as we go on. But let's continue. So the last part of section 6, in controversy, UMG saw an opportunity, seized it, and continued to fan the flames even after learning of the incident to violence on May 7th and 8th, along with the unrelenting vitriol towards Drake that has followed. Now, section 7. The song in question is Not Like Us, the recording written and performed by Kendrick Lamar Duckworth, professionally known as Kendrick Lamar. The recording was intended to convey the specific, unmistakable, and false factual allegation that Drake is a criminal pedophile and to suggest that the public should resort to vigilante justice in response. Now, I did a breakdown to Not Like Us twice. I don't remember the song saying that the public should resort to vigilante justice in response. This is, they tripping. Anyway, let's continue. The recording is defamatory because its lyrics, its album image, and its music video all advance the false and malicious narrative that Drake is a pedophile. The lyrics repeatedly accuse Drake of engaging in criminal acts, including by calling him a certified pedophile and a predator who needs to be placed on neighborhood watch. Wow. The image was designed to reinforce, and in fact reinforces, that accusation by depicting Drake's actual Toronto house covered in icons that are known to be used by law enforcement as well as public safety applications like Citizen to identify child sex offenders' residences online. The video bolsters the same message by, for example, showing images associated with sex trafficking and juxtaposing the game Hopscotch with lyrics accusing Drake of trying to strike a chord and is probably a minor. Wow. As if he didn't do the same thing in all of his diss records, but let's continue. Section 8. Now this section is the cover-up section right here. This is a weak attempt to cover his behind, but let's go through it. Okay, this lawsuit is not about the artist who created Not Like Us. It is instead entirely about UMG, the music company that decided to publish, promote, exploit, and monetize allegations that it understood were not only false but dangerous. Again, how did they understand that? But anyway, as UMG knows and has known at all relevant times, the recording, image, and videos allegations are unequivocally false. Again, how did they know that? They don't know that it's false. Drake is not a pedophile. Drake has never engaged in any acts that would require him that he be placed under neighborhood watch. Drake has never engaged in sexual relations with a minor. Drake has never been charged with or convicted of any criminal acts whatsoever. Now, section 9, notwithstanding its knowledge that the allegations are fabricated, started in May of 2024, UMG waged an unrelenting campaign to spread the recording, image, and video together the defamatory material as widely as possible. UMG did so because it understood that the recording's inflammatory and shocking allegations were a gold mine. Spreading the defamatory material served multiple business purposes for UMG. Wow. First, the more people who listened to, streamed, watched, and downloaded the defamatory material, the more money UMG and its executives would make. Second, UMG's Interscope Records owns Lamar's entire back catalog of recorded music. The leadership of Interscope had every incentive to prove it could maximize Lamar's sales after only recently persuading him to enter into his own direct license for a limited recording commitment of new music. Third, in contrast with Lamar's first direct deal, UMG's contract with Drake was nearing fulfillment, and on information and belief, UMG anticipated that extending Drake's contract would be costly. By devaluing Drake's music and brand, UMG would gain leverage to force Drake to sign a new deal on terms more favorable to UMG. Now let's stop right there. You can go sign somewhere else. You don't have to re-up with UMG. You can go somewhere else. And again, you're trying to say this argument doesn't make any sense. So they're going to make Kendrick Lamar more expensive and make you less expensive. How are they saving any money? If Kendrick Lamar becomes the new Drake, which he's on the way to doing, and he has a better deal than Drake had originally, right? Because he owns more of the control of his music and creation, how does UMG benefit? But I'm not UMG's lawyer. They're gonna handle that. But just from a public fan perspective, again, this spin that they're trying to do and try to act like they're not attacking Kendrick Lamar, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're attacking not only Kendrick Lamar, but you're attacking all artist expression because you lost a battle is crazy. I mean, ain't nothing to this at all. This is unbelievable. Section 10, let's continue. UMG's campaign was successful. The recording cloaks cleverly dangerous lyrics behind a catchy beat and inviting hook. Capitalizing on those attributes, UMG used every tool at its disposal to ensure that the world would hear that Drake like 'em young. The defamatory material has been played billions of times, and its false central message has gone viral via social media and legacy media channels in dozens of languages to, at a minimum, hundreds of millions of people spanning the globe. It is not just fans of rap music who now believe that Drake is a certified PDF file. The recording has become ubiquitous. UMG used its promotional resources and exclusive licensing rights to play the recording on numerous nationally televised events, including but not limited to award shows, national political events, and more. Section 11, but billions of plays and ubiquity were not enough for UMG. Okay, here we go. Over the course of the last several months, UMG has made significant financial investments and leveraged its professional connections via sophisticated and highly organized publicity campaigns to arrange for the recording to be performed at one of the most significant and viewed cultural events of the year, the Super Bowl. That is a false allegation. These niggas, look, yo, first of all, we don't know what songs he's going to perform at the Super Bowl. Okay, of course, yes, they're going to do some version of Not Like Us. He already cut parts of the record out of the pop-out performance on Amazon. UMG, I hope that they take this to court and they do not settle with this. This is a shakedown and this is nonsense, but in my opinion, let's continue. Section 12, UMG is legally responsible for the release, publication, and promotion of the defamatory material, including and foreseeable consequences of the same. UMG's business is to possess the exclusive rights to reproduce, to distribute, and to license music, including over the internet. So in other words, it is only with UMG's explicit approval that the defamatory material could have been released in the first instance and later streamed, shared, performed publicly, and exploited by the content creators on TikTok and Instagram. Now he's coming at us. Okay. Section 13, UMG's campaign went well beyond the traditional music company playbook. Indeed, UMG has unleashed every weapon in its arsenal, including on information and belief certain practices that are unlawful. In a memorandum to staff reflecting on highlights of 2021, Sir Lucian Grainge remarked that it was harder than ever for artists to break through the noise. As for example, 60,000 songs are added to Spotify every day. What does that have to do with anything? But anyway, all right. UMG made sure that Not Like Us broke through that noise. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. For one, UMG took the unprecedented step, contrary to its internal practices, to remove the recording's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the recording to ensure content creators would republish it broadly. On information and belief, UMG and its agents further put a thumb on the scale by covertly offering financial incentives to third parties to deceptively stream the recording on streaming platforms. Wow, okay, so this is he's bringing that lawsuit back into this one, so to speak, the one that he just dropped. So they dropped the discovery and the allegations against Spotify specifically and pin everything on UMG. Why? Because he can go to another record distributor, a record company to distribute other than UMG, but he really can't go to another streaming service than Spotify. He wants to be able to still stream on Spotify, but he wants a new record deal with somebody other than UMG. And also, on a side note, my breakdown of Not Like Us, Lyrics Explained, was not whitelisted, okay? 25,000 views, something like that. Nice little chunk of change for me. It was not whitelisted, so that statement is false as well. I'm sure some people's videos were. Other videos I did of both artists were whitelisted, honestly. But that one wasn't for Not Like Us, for me. The reaction was, but the lyrical breakdown was not. So that puts a hole in that claim right there. But let's continue. All right, I stopped in the middle of a sentence on section 13. So, okay, on streaming platforms, to play the recording on the radio and to otherwise promote and endorse the defamatory material, all without ever publicly disclosing the payments, as if they have to do that. But let's continue. These actions not only spread and further ingrained the defamatory statements in the minds of the public, but deceive consumers and harm Drake economically. And that's what this is really about. Section 14. Predictably, millions of people who listened to the recording or saw the image in the video believe the defamatory material to be true. UMG had previously published Lamar's song Euphoria, which is also widely understood to be targeted at Drake, and which stated, "Don't tell no lie about me, won't tell no truths about you." As voluminous public commentary, that means a lot of public commentary, confirms, the average listener or viewer has understood the defamatory material to reflect the truth, rather than an art or hyperbole. That is such a reach in a statement, but let's continue. In the words of one commentator, now everybody believes that Drake loves touching children. Ain't that? And he doesn't name the commentator. That all of this, now you bringing in random people. This is dirty work. This is dirty. Let's continue. Section 15, UMG's greed yielded real world consequences as described above. It was just 3 days after UMG originally published the recording and image that Drake was targeted at his house by armed intruders in 2024, equivalent of Pizzagate. Wow. The online response was similarly violent and hateful. An avalanche of online hate speech has branded Drake as a S-offender, as a PDF file, among other epithets. Okay, I want to quit saying those words. I can't say those words too much in the video. But public commentary has repeated the false claims that Drake is a PDF file and a S-abuser on the level of Weinstein, Diddy, and Epstein. Wow. Who traffics children in shipping containers and harbors convicted S-offenders in his Toronto home. Now, again, those are allegations made by the public. Okay, anyway, let's continue. In direct response to UMG's publications, social media users called for the Federal Bureau of Investigations to come at this point and for Drake to be locked up and behind bars. So now he's using rumors in a lawsuit. Okay. Section 16, the mob-like response to the recording continues to unfold on and offline recently. Flyers were plastered all over Toronto with a photo of Drake and a Canadian YouTuber who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for SA with the words, "Canadian SA predators gotta stick together." Wow, okay, now, and this is the photo here. They have a photo of it. I didn't know about this. That's rough. I'm not gonna lie, that's a rough one. All right, section 17. With the palpable physical threat to Drake's safety and the bombardment of online harassment, Drake fears for the safety and security of himself and his family and his friends, even though he's at all the NBA games. However, after the attacks on his house, Drake pulled his son out of elementary school he attended in Toronto due to safety concerns, and once school ended for the summer, Drake arranged for his son and mother to leave Toronto entirely. Day to day, Drake continues to take steps to address persistent threats to his security. Now okay. Section 18, the violence and the vitriol directed at Drake was foreseeable. The recordings falsely accuses Drake of one of the most vile behaviors imaginable and explicitly calls for retaliatory violence and retribution against him. That is so false. The false PDF file accusation is a devastatingly effective method of assassinating someone's character online. When spread virally, The accusation can destroy an individual's reputation and the brand. It matters. Okay. They're just whining at this point. I'm not gonna read the rest of this. It goes on to discuss Drake going to UMG to asking them to stop, promoting the record or whatever, to do something about the record, which I don't know what they could have done. At that point, the record was released and gaining public popularity, much like Back to Back, right? The lawsuit goes on to talk about jurisdiction. It goes on to talk about Drake's contribution to UMG. Drake's contribution is accolades as far as just being an artist in society. Drake's, it speaks to his character, so to speak, right? Or his public perception of his character anyway, as a philanthropist and all of this other good things about Drake, so to speak, right? That's all the way through section 38. I do want to go through section 58 through like 62, because they're talking about the lyrics in the song. And to me, it's funny. But let's go. Section 58. Within the first minute, the recording identifies Drake by name and states that Lamar has heard that Drake has a predilection for underage women. Say, Drake, I hear you like them young. Okay, that underage women where? What is that? You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be hard to prove. But anyway, the next line is a thinly veiled threat that Drake should be careful that he never ends up in prison, a place where child predators are notoriously the targets of violence. You better not ever go to cell block 1. And see, this is what's dangerous about this case, is that them attacking lyrics in this way can lead to a very big impact on artistic expression in music and in general, really, in writing, in any kind of publication. And though it's not the first time it's been done in general, this is the first time I've heard of this being done in hip hop to this scale and at this level to this degree. Then the next part, the recording continues to say that any woman who falls in love with Drake should be careful to hide her little sister from him. Section 59, next, in a perverse reference to Drake's 2021 album, Certified Lover Boy, Certified PDF Files, in a play on the dual meaning of a minor, a person under the age of 18, and a musical scale, the recording says that Drake is trying to strike a chord and is probably a minor. The fact that they put this stuff in the lawsuit, I'm sorry, is hilarious to me, especially considering Drake did the same thing twice. Not only did he do it in Family Matters, he also did it in The Heart Part 6. So let's continue. Later in the recording, Lamar describes Drake as Malibu's most wanted. The recording continues to say that Drake and the people in his circle need to be served with a subpoena because a predator moves in flocks, and asserts that Drake's name got to be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. Yo, this is the craziest lawsuit I think I've ever read before. It's not, but it's up there. And later on, they make sure that they go after individual YouTubers, bringing them into the lawsuit, how many views they had to their reactions, okay? Because that ties into the whitelisting of the videos. I'm sure that the bigger streamers and YouTubers had their videos whitelisted. The problem with that accusation is that is not illegal. It's up to the discretion of the publisher to choose and the copyright holder to choose if a video is whitelisted. That's marketing, okay? To say that they maliciously did this to damage Drake's career, that's just gonna be hard to prove, period, point blank. And I noticed that they attacked certain YouTubers like No Life Shaq. They attacked the Cartier family. I'm not familiar with the Cartier family, but RDC World, Kai Cenat, people who were pretty much unbiased during the battle and just kind of called it like it was. But I'm sure Drake may have behind the scenes wanted them to promote for him and they probably refused. So now they get put in a lawsuit because there's a lot of people missing from this lawsuit. A lot of OV hoes, none of them are in this. Even though some of them, including academics, promoted Not Like Us a lot. It was his #1 played song on Spotify. Why is he not one of the people that you used? He got a lot of views from covering the battle and talking about Not Like Us. Even though it was skewed sometimes in Drake's favor, he still promoted the song. You're just talking about the spread of the song in the lawsuit. So there's so much to unpack in this lawsuit. This is part 1. This is definitely just going to be part 1 because why not? We're gonna pick this lawsuit apart. This is a nonsensical lawsuit in my humble opinion. It is an attack on hip hop and the art of expression, in my opinion, and I don't like it. So I will be picking this apart and attacking all of these ridiculous tactics that are in this lawsuit that they use. It's 81 pages of crybaby nonsense, in my opinion, okay? But let me know what y'all think in the comments below, man. Like I said, this is just gonna be part one. We're gonna talk about a lot of the things because this could have a big impact on the music industry, even though I don't think it will, and I hope it does not. But just this is a very big indictment on who's been running hip hop, quote unquote, for the last 15 years, as they like to say. So this is a clear representation of the character that we created here. Paperwork Papi. That name reigns supreme now. Get your Paperwork Papi merch in the description below. Thank y'all for watching as always. Hit that like button if you haven't hit the like button already. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit the notification bell. Share this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse and this dude couldn't get any more, be any more of a Karen than he already is, Drake just surprises us every time. Thank y'all for watching as always, and we out.